Hey, that's not Wulbrecht. I'm Johnny Venerable, joined by Tyler of Bird Gang Travel. And is Monti Ossenfort really on the hot seat? Tyler and I are going to go through his ups and downs and why he's got nothing to worry about. It's PHNX Cardinals starting now. Hey, welcome in. Live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable. He's Tyler Vasquez, Bird Game Travel, joining the show today in Studio K. Of course, producer extraordinaire Noah behind the mic as we kick things off. Sans Wulbrecht. Tyler, how we living, my guy?
I can't complain. It's a little warm outside, but other than that, life's good.
Excellent. Life is good. Life is good for the Brocs. I can report everything's going great with Bo and his family as he is on paternity leave. So shout out to Bo and his family. We'll see them soon. But in the meantime, we're holding it down here on a football Thursday. Drop a like, drop a comment here. So much stuff to talk about. And I just thought, you know what? Why not get Tyler, our newest partner of Bird Gang Travel, in the fold so we can rip some hot takes here, my friend. I know we've got the segments and the agenda set, but anything you just want to get off your chest to start the show? Anything you want to put out into the ether?
I'm pumped to be here, first and foremost. Nice. I love the show. Big fan. Been a big fan since day one. The OG PHNX Cardinals. And it's only gotten better. I did just meet, and I know this brings the chat to an uproar. I did just meet officially for the first time ever Damon Dog out in the hangout area. So yeah. That was a highlight for sure. But then it was upped by meeting Noah, who's right in front of me right now. You know what I mean? So I'm pumped. Let's get into it.
These people are real. They're real people. We did not fire Damon. He's still lingering, lurking around. He will be joining us next week in some capacity. We got a slew of guest hosts lined up between now and next Friday. Tyler's going to kick things off. Yeah, R.I.P. Damon. At least R.I.P. Damon on this show. He's doing a phenomenal job with our friends at PHNX Wildcats. Everybody do us a favor. Drop a like for Tyler. Drop a like for Bird Gang Travel. And drop a like if you're joining us week 1 in New Orleans. We're going to talk about that later in the show. But topic of discussion today. So full transparency. I don't want to say good friends, but I am friends with Patrick Daughtry, excuse me, of NBC Sports. He's a great follow on Twitter. He's a great guy, big fan of his. And every year he does a head coach and GM ranking for NBC Sports separately, right? And in the past, like he's done the Cardinals well with Keim in his heyday. He had Bruce Arians, I think, top 3 or to 5 at one point. And, you know, I didn't really pay too much attention to them the last 2 years because the Cardinals were rebuilding. He dropped his GM rankings today, and I woke up to a flurry, and God bless you all, the football gods. Everybody's tagging me in this, the responses, because Pat's write-up and his breakdown was not favorable of Monti Ossenfort. And so where was he ranked? He was 20th overall, which, you know, the ranking, I don't have too much of concern with because, Tyler, we've been breaking down rankings for the better part of 2 weeks. Most people don't know what to do with the Cardinals. Most people have them anywhere between like 15 to 20. But it's the write-up itself that jumps out as, ooh, I don't know if I agree with that. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the write-up here. I'm going to paraphrase some of this, but Monti Ossenfort ranked 20th overall by Pat at NBC Sports. The only thing worse than having a franchise quarterback is not having, the only thing worse than not having a franchise quarterback is maybe having a franchise quarterback. Ossenfort was hired in 2023. He spent the intervening 28 months, waiting on Kyler Murray, first to get healthy and second to finally take that next step. Murray started every game last season for the first time since 2020, conducted a shot-for-shot remake of his rookie year stats. He's done a good job. He has done so with limited free agents, sans Josh Sweat notwithstanding, and draft pick stockpiling. The Cardinals have made 28 picks in 3 years on Ossenfort's watch, trading down for extra capital in 6 times in 3 springs, including 5 times in between. But it's this last paragraph. Even in the NFL, patience tends to be a virtue. Forcing solutions is how you end up trading for Deshaun Watson or drafting Kenny Pickett. But Ossenfort is nevertheless in position where his lack of action could result in his 2026 firing if Murray remains mired in mediocrity. That's not enough. It's also how things have also worked around here. All right, so Pat's got him 20th, Tyler. Your reaction to the write-up and your reaction to the ranking on, I don't really care who's above or below him. I look at that and it's like, could Monti Ossenfort really be fired?
What kills me about the national media in general with the Cardinals is the only time that you're going to see them give us any love is with proven success. Because just like fans, where we'll say same old Cardinals, that's what the media says, right? Historically, nationally. You hear from me, your favorite, Mina Kimes. Yeah. She will come on and talk about how her peers really just don't pay attention to the Cardinals. And when you see write-ups like this, you see rankings like this, to me, it just comes off more of the same of like, until the Cardinals give people a reason, they're going to put stuff out like that. They're going to put them in the back half. They're going to continue to criticize and continue to put people on a hot seat that may not be on a hot seat. Do I think Monti Ossenfort's is on a hot seat? No, I don't believe that. And I mean, that's how you kicked off the show. I know you don't believe that, but it's just where we're at in terms of national media. And now I will say, this is the 3rd round of draft picks, the 3rd round of free agents for Monti. And so some of that is true. He has gone and got a lot of capital. Yeah. And now we've seen some guys shine very early on in their careers. But when you do what he does, which has been get all these draft picks, not all draft picks prosper immediately. It does take a couple seasons. So now we are starting to get that point. Do I think he's on a hot seat? No. But do I think we're at a point where there are some guys that are definitely going to need to start shining? And I'm not talking about like Garrett Williams. Like, we've already seen him shine. We've seen Paris Johnson shine. But you have other picks, because he has stock loaded a bunch, that you're going to need to see, start proving themselves a little bit more. I know there's a certain 3rd round pick, top 100 pick, that you thought was a reach last year.
We're going to talk about it. Yeah.
And he's a guy that, because of where you drafted him, he needs to be a little more impactful. Was he, does he play his role really well? Yes. Do I think he needs to catch a bunch of catches? No. I think you have to see it on the field. If he's going to be a blocking tight end, for example, that player in particular, Tip Ryman, has to be more impactful for Monti to not be on a hot seat later.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like you have to contextualize it. Not all rebuilds are created equal. There are rebuilds like Houston and some other teams that the Chargers, for instance, with Jim Harbaugh, it's like it takes 1 year and they're good to go. And there were pieces there. I look at what Bruce Arians did in 2013. It was like, okay, we can do this. We can, put some spackle on this bad boy and get us back to the postseason quickly. The Cardinals roster had just a complete malpractice of draft picks for 10 years, and they had to start from scratch. Now, do I think that they maybe went too far down the deep end where they cherish draft picks almost to a fault? You can make that argument. I think there was good balance this year. I would argue maybe not so much the last 2 years. You're not going to hit on all these guys. But to suggest like Ossenfort could be fired, I'm going to tell everybody right now, there's no scenario in which Ossenfort or Organa loses her job after this year. No. Like, is there a scenario in which Kyler Murray's gone? Of course. We've talked about that for 12 months, right? If he gets hurt, if it doesn't play well, like, they will exhaust options there. They don't want that to happen. They want Kyler Murray to be their quarterback. Save for an off-the-field kind of discretion, Keim style, which, didn't even force him out of the room. Like, Ossenfort's not going anywhere. They love the continuity that they've built. They love the blossoming young stars that they have on this roster, I don't think they're in a position like this roster. If some other general manager took it over, like this would be an attractive opening because of all the young talent. This is not a gut job with a wrecking ball. And so Michael Bidwell understands that. They have shed, and like this is the part that bothers me too when you read something like that, Tyler, and something we touched on earlier this week. Like the Cardinals have like no dead money, right? And that proves like they've made, a lot of good decisions where they've chosen to invest. Whereas Steve Keim, it's like maxing out the credit card, right? It's like, just read the tea leaves. Has he drafted a Pro Bowler in 2 seasons? He has not yet. Is that the end all be all? It is not. But to your point, you're going to have to see this year some of this come to fruition with some of these prior draft classes. Like you're going to need, Paris to be a top 10 guy, even though I feel like on some Sundays he can do that. And Garrett Williams is a star in the making. Can you get a little bit more from Michael Wilson? I think you can. But it really is going to come down to, it's crazy. Like the 2024 draft class, you went all in with that class. And we'll talk about them later in the show on, Ossenfort's hits and maybe his hiccups. But you went all in on that class. You had the most top 100 picks since the early 90s Dallas Cowboys, right? You can't have a vanilla mediocre draft from last year because those are the players from last year that are hopefully going to go into their pop year in year 2. But like, Tyler, we talk about the schedule all the time. You're planning out trips to all these road games. It's like, this is one of the easiest schedules they've ever had. Like they can really kind of fly by the seat of their pants this year. They don't even have to be locked in for most games. And I think they'll sleepwalk their way. They would never say this. I think they can sleepwalk their way to 8 or 9 wins. And if you're winning 8 or 9, we're not getting fired with that.
Oh, I agree. And I hear you say it all the time about last year, the male practice of not grabbing a pass rusher last offseason, right? So when we talk about, will they be on a hot seat this year? No. But could some of those non-moves in prior years bite them come maybe, let's say, next season? Yeah. I mean, if Kyler Murray doesn't pan out this year, sure, there's your scapegoat for now. Right. But then next year, how do you pivot? You're going to have a rookie QB maybe, or you get some sort of retread, or maybe Brissett steps in for a year until you figure it out. And even then, if he's stepping in, what does that look like? And not to get too far into the future, but just saying that, like, yes, you're going to need to see Monty's going to live and die by the draft picks. Obviously, this free agency did take some big swings, and it seems like he may have saved some of the notion that he isn't great in free agency. Yeah, I think that was out there, right? Going to getting Calais, going to getting Dalvin, obviously Sweaty J. You can see that this year he went all in there to supplement what he's been doing with the draft. So now let's see how that pans out. I just like the Kyler Murray crutch. What do you want him to do? Like that was always my big argument. Like, and even this year, and K1 like pushed back every time I've seen him this offseason. He's blown me grief for it. But it's like, if they wanted to take a developmental guy this year, they had every right to, right? They could have taken Jalen Milroe or Tyler Shuck or whomever. And they're like, these guys probably aren't very good. Like, they're certainly not better than who we have. So if this notion is, and we'll see how these guys develop, but if the notion is like, well, Kyler Murray, you've hit a ceiling and now that's your fault. Well, they didn't sign him to that deal. And they've become respectable with him at quarter. Like if they have a winning record this year, it's like, you're going to get rid of a quarterback you just had a winning record with? Like, are people asking the folks in Seattle, the battery of John Schneider and McDonald, like, are they on a hot seat? They won 10 games with Geno Smith and shipped him out, right? Like, they'll do their due diligence like anybody else, but just to act like they're Mickey Loomis and they traded for Derek Carr and he abruptly retired. Like, that's what this blurb kind of suggests. And it's like, here's what they did. They took an asset that was depreciating on the public landscape, right? He was hurt. A lot of people thought he was overpaid, and they've revitalized that asset. And now he's a starting quarterback that you feel like on certain Sundays can be a top 10 guy. Like, and they deserve to be, Ossenfort deserves to be fired for that. Like, if you're Monti Ossenfort and you're in the Carolina Panthers driver's seat and you pass on CJ Stroud, or you're the Chicago Bears Ryan Poles and you pass on Jaden Daniels, like, and then your quarterback stinks, then yeah, that's on you, directly on you. But Ossenfort hasn't had to do any of those things because they haven't been in a position to do that. he's done the right things, right? He took a stud generational offensive lineman, right? That's going to be a bookend for you for hopefully 10 years, right? In his first draft class. Then you take a generational talent. Maybe I use generational wrong on Paris, but I I love Paris's parents. They're fantastic. Good family. I'm going to call him generational just to give some more love there. But you take generational in Marv, right? That everyone believes that's what he is going to get to. So he's done the right things. He hasn't passed on anyone in the moment that everyone feels like, oh, woof, what a bad pick or anything like that. So I think there's dominoes that would have to fall first. And I'm seeing it in the chat. Petzing or Kyler, right? Usually you'll see a coordinator get terminated first. And then that's when maybe Kyler's going to go. But it could be vice versa in this case. If they love Petzing that much and they think Kyler's run his course for, he's been here for a long time, then maybe it's the other way. So I think either of those things would happen well before Monty or Gannon were in any hot seat.
I just feel like for this franchise, this is not the Green Bay Packers. This is not the Minnesota Vikings, Tyler. Like this is not a franchise that's had this recent continuity of winning. We know that they have 4 winning seasons in like the last 20 years. Like there is a price and that we'll pay it to not be an embarrassment. Right. And the Cardinals will never come out and say that, but it's like, hey, maybe don't be a disaster picking in the top 10 every year. Can you do that? Can you stay out of the national media headlines for all the wrong reasons? Can you stay out of the tabloids, so to speak, in NFL media? Can you not have arrests? Like that was the baseline for Ossenfort and Gannon when they took over. And then you raise the bar over time, but Ossenfort came in with a different set of circumstances. They got 5-year deals. They're right at the midpoint, or they will be this year. It's like the rebuild is on track. It's not ahead of schedule. Like last year, had they gone to the playoffs or won 10 games, we would all said head of schedule, give extensions. But to suggest they're going backwards, that's the funniest thing. When the schedule's easier, the roster's better, you've got continuity with the coaching staff. We'll put a ball on this. There is zero chance that Ossenfort, pending just a disaster, is going to be fired, and he should have the right to see this through. God forbid the Cardinals have continuity with their roster for the first time in my adult life. But, to each their own. We're going to go through Monti Ossenfort's highs and maybe his lows, dissecting it all. Drop us a like for Tyler and Johnny. It's PHNX Cardinals. Fired up here to have my guy Tyler in the fold. Fired up to have our friend Shady Rays in the fold as well. You know the moment. The one where you realize you left your favorite glasses at the beach or on the roof of your car, or you go to the gas station. It's 3 states away. Well, I've been there too. Again, I've had Shady Rays swept off my face in the Hawaiian Ocean. I lost them, but I called my friends at Shady Rays, and they took care of me. If you lose or break them, even one day, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. No guilt trip, just replacements. Now I actually wear my sunglasses without fear on hikes, concerts, boats, wherever. Shady Rays is the eyewear that has your back. Drop a like for Shady Rays. We've teamed up to bring you this exclusive offer. Most sunglasses on the website are $40 and under. Head there right now, shadyrays.com. Bonus code PHNX. You're going to get an additional 35% off. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. It's our friends at Shady Rays. So fired up for Shady Rays. Fired up this year because mainly I'm hot because it's hot here in Arizona. Did you know that nearly half of the energy costs come from cooling and heating? With summer here, it's time to get smart about savings. A smart thermostat can help you manage your energy bills. Smart thermostats can work with your APS rate plan to maximize comfort and convenience while minimizing energy costs. Now, if you're on the APS time usage plan, use your smartphone or your device to automatically adjust the thermostat to take advantage of lower costs at peak hours. APS customers may be eligible for smart thermostats as low as $0 when you enroll in their Cool Rewards program. They've got free installation. It's fantastic. Again, find rebates, discounts, special offers on thermostats, energy-efficient appliances, and more at marketplace.aps.com. You got to be an APS customer. Shipping and taxes not included. Other restrictions may apply. Fired up here. Drop us a like. Get us to 300 likes here on Tyler's official show debut as a co-host here in the off season. Man, fired up. Fired up. Let's go through it. I teased it. The best moves of Monti Ossenfort. Noah, man, let's see them. Here are what we deemed the big five. And again, if you've got pushback, if you've got something that's not on the screen, break it down. But Tyler, I'll run through these and I want to get your thoughts. Number one, hiring JG. Number two, the aforementioned Paris Johnson Jr., drafting him. And then a part of that package was drafting Garrett Williams, signing Yelda Froldholt, who PFF had today the 10th best center in the NFL. And then last year, extending Budda Baker and James Conner during the season. Any quorums? Any issues with this list?
No, I love it. Starting with JG. I mean, how when you not see the video of JG rolling up when he was with the Eagles and saying, let's gut these guys? Does that not fire you up to have him as your coach? I know everyone talks about his first team, it was on Flight Plan, where he was on there and they said he was kind of weird or goofy. Nah, man, I'd run through a wall for JG. So starting at the top, by far, I trust JG. What he's been able to get out of this team as they rebuild and tear this roster down and reset it, and what he's been able to accomplish, I get it. Not a playoff berth yet, but man, I just think he's the guy. He's definitely the guy for this team, and kudos to Monti for that hire. Don't like that we got charged. You can almost put an asterisk too that we got charged the draft pick, but for the tampering. But other than that, I mean, Paris, for how long have we asked to get a stud offensive tackle in the draft in the first round? I mean, you've seen the Niners, the Cowboys over the years, teams that, locally we despise. And you've seen them do it, go and grab guys that just haunt you for years and years. And finally the Cardinals did it. Garrett Williams, he's so underrated. I know locally we know, true fans that know ball, they know Garrett Williams is going to be a Pro Bowler. He's going to be all those things. The national media may not give him that love, but that's such an underrated move that doesn't get talked about nationally. And then, as you mentioned, Froholt, awesome from where he came from to now. I mean, just a great move. And then, of course, the hometown love to Budda and James Conner.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Like, you're only as good as your head coaches, and John Schneider was living off Pete Carroll for a long time, and you see now across the NFL landscape, like there are competent general managers that get fired because they didn't hire the right head coach. Monti Ossenfort was able to secure Jonathan Gannon here in a period where the Cardinals were not an attractive destination, and you can't there's in my opinion, there's not going to be a bigger coup for him in his legacy than getting this head coach here. I know they haven't won anything big yet together, but that's everything. I mean, it was everything for Steve Keim. Had Bruce Arians been, instead of 60 years old when they hired him, had he been 45, 50? I mean, who knows? They might still be here simultaneously together. But because you're able to get a coup like Gannon to say, you know what? Despite what's going on, I'm going to meet with the owner. And it was a courting of JG because he had options every offseason. He thought he had the job in Houston. So for me, that's always going to be number one. And I think I would caution everybody who is skeptical of this current regime, just turn the clocks back 2 years ago and think about the position of this franchise. We were on Radio Row, and it was a combination of like Kyler slander and Bidwell slander, and no one wants this job. And Ossenfort was the second choice. They tried to hire one of the Bears assistant GMs. He turned them down, and then they didn't have a head coach. Gannon was the last coach hired in that coaching cycle, as you mentioned. I mean, it was just like sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's fate, and they are so lockstep, the two of them. Like Ossenfort picks the players, Gannon coaches them. And Gannon doesn't want to pick the players, but they know just how each other operates, and it's going to be if Michael Bidwell continues to empower them, and I have no reason to doubt that he won't, they're going to win a lot of games this year and beyond. Like, I don't know, Tyler, if they're ever going to win a Super Bowl. I think it's naive to come on here and say like championships and NFC championships, but like I have compared Jonathan Gannon to the Cardinals version of Mike Vrabel. I just think not safe, but you have a floor every year where it's just like, damn, these guys are competitive. And then the high end is like, I think they're going to make some noise in January starting this year.
Yeah, every year I always look at it. What's your worst injury, right? If the Cardinals can be as healthy as they were last year against this schedule, like there is no reason We talk about the AFC South and NFC South. This schedule and these opponents, they have to get to the playoffs or damn well be shy one game. I mean, it's got to be close. And they can't be. It can't be the year that you rolled into that Rams game where you were just atrocious and got destroyed in that playoff game. Like, that can't happen either. You just got to end competitive. A couple years ago when they lit up the Eagles towards the end, like, you started to see signs as the end of the season came that this team is getting better. Like, and they're a team that is going to be a problem at some point. Would we love to see the Cardinals go from worst to first, like some teams do every year? Of course. And I think this is the year that the Cardinals, not worst, but from third to first can very likely happen.
Let's take a look at that list again here. I want to run through a couple other things that, we emphasized here. The Paris Johnson Jr. package, you mentioned it, Tyler. Like, they have not had a tackle of this quality in my adult life with respect to DJ Humphries. Like, they nailed that, because not only did they trade down and get a package that allowed them to draft Garrett Williams, but then they had the foresight to trade back up. Signing Yelda Froholt was something Keim would have never done. They would have overpaid somebody. They would have gone old and expensive. Froholt was kind of an afterthought by teams. They've developed him, and now he's a staple of what they do. And then last year, having the foresight to get James Conner and Budda Baker done before free agency, it's like, we're going to talk about it later in the show, like, getting Baker and James Conner done was like, okay, now I can focus on Josh Sweat. Now I can focus on my other targets where I don't have to compete and let these guys go and test the market. So rarely have the Cardinals done in-season contracts under Ossenfort, though, made it a priority this year. So those were his best moves. Let's take a look at, some of the more questionable moves by Monti Ossenfort. And I hate to call them misses, but they've, I don't know. We've talked about them a fair amount. Let's take a look, Noah. The questionable moves by Monti Ossenfort, I think number one unequivocally is last year's free agent class. I think with respect to Mack Wilson Sr., you look at the two defensive linemen, you look at the cornerback with Sean Murphy-Bunting, who has basically been released by the team. I mean, it was a position in which the Cardinals had money, like this year, could have splurged at a couple spots, mainly pass rusher. And I do think it would have helped them win a game or two more this fall. Now, would it allowed them to reach the postseason? Who knows? But, I mean, Tyler, that free agency class last year, it almost felt like Ossenfort learned from it and corrected it this year.
Yeah, the free agent class is definitely my number one, as it was almost like you went from Steve Keim, who couldn't do anything successful in the draft other than Trey McBride and maybe one or two others, to, he would hit the occasional home runs when he started, and he would get some value picks as times would go on, as the years went on, to now Monti, who looks to do fantastic in the draft and then wasn't very active in free agency. It's like, can we get someone that's a little bit that can do all three phases, the trades, the free agency, and the draft, obviously leaning heavier on the draft. So yeah, I'd agree with you there for sure. The Zach Allen and Byron Murphy one hurts, because Zach Allen, seeing what he has become, especially last season, that takes care of a lot of problems today. If you were able to retain him and keep him here. So those two are right up there at the top for me.
Those are the two that I consistently see with the fan base, the free agent class last year, but hopefully, again, correcting it this year. And then, I was never big on re-signing either Zach Allen or Byron Murphy. I understood the argument. They were in their mid-20s. They were about to enter their prime, but I think it kind of goes hand in hand with number three. And it's like, we know what the Cardinals did in 2023. They kind of rinsed out this paper towel to see what was worth keeping. And then if guys didn't stick around, so be it. Rolling with Colt McCoy, though, I was at that training camp. It was atrocious. He had no arm strength left. And they should have ponied up for a guy like Jacoby Brissett that year, because what people don't understand is, even when you don't intend to be like the most competitive team, you still have to be competent at quarterback or you become completely unwatchable. And they had to trade for Dobbs. It was a reactionary move because Dobbs had a lively arm and could make some plays like they needed. They tried to sign Dobbs that spring. They balked over about $300,000. And then it was the worst case scenario, because then they had to trade a draft pick for him. So I see some pushback on number 4 here, and hear me out. This is, Tyler, what we talked about earlier. 2024 third-round picks, okay? You've got a running back, you've got a guard, you've got a second or third tight end, and then you've got a corner, right? That third round was supposed to be like the juggernaut to the rebuild last year, in my opinion. Think about the third rounders you got the year before. I don't know, Michael Wilson and Garrett Williams, who are staples of this team. Garrett Williams is a star. Like, the third round, last year's draft was as deep as it's ever been. And you were pushing all your chips in the table. And you traded down again in the second round to recoup a third rounder to take Max Melton. And it's like, of those four players, I'm going to pose it to you and everybody in the chat. Like, number one, you've got, in my opinion, one starter out of that group entering year two. Not ideal. And like, on the surface, nobody's an impact player. I think they could have roles. You could have role players. I'm not aiming for role players in the third round of a loaded draft with 4 third-round picks, respectfully.
Yeah, no, I agree 1,000%. You want to see those guys, and hopefully this year, some of those guys will change that notion that's 4, right? I see a lot of people, they're saying that should be 5, maybe it should be a little bit lower. I think it can be. I just think as of right now, I agree with you. I think that is 4. I think we got to see what those guys do this season. I think that's a to be determined still. Give those guys a second year. Like I said a little bit ago, sometimes guys need a little bit longer to develop, right? And so give them one more season, and that may change. You're not going to change and convince me later that trading for Desmond Ridder was ever a good idea, rolling with Colt McCoy, letting all these other ones. That is the one that can change. So that's
that's why we listed this questionable, not huge mistakes, glaring mistakes. CBK pointing out, like, future running back doesn't count with Trey Benson. They just re-signed James Conner. Like, you need multiple backs. I'm not pushing back on that. But they re-signed their Pro Bowl running back. He's going to start. Does anybody think James Conner's not going to get 60% of the snaps this year? And then they have Amari DiMercato. Like, Trey Benson, I'm excited to watch him this year. And of the 4 picks, like, the first 2 picks I like well enough. Adams is going to be a good player at guard. He's a starter at guard. Like, that you sell me on that, hell yeah. Tip Ryman, you know how I feel about it. I think it was a wasted pick given where they drafted him. I think if he's a 4th or a 5th round pick, you can stomach that a little bit more. And Elijah Jones now, I mean, like, where does he fit in? Can he play? He didn't play at all. Like, part of it is like luck a little bit here, where like he's injured, and then now you have Will Johnson. It's like, is he just not going to be a contributor? So they have time, and I'm not writing anybody off after their rookie season. But like, we went into that day 2 of the NFL draft, and the Cardinals had 4 picks. They ended with 5 picks, and it's like, you got Max Melton and some contributors. And again, I'll give Steve Keim a little bit of credit here. Like, I've seen this franchise get Tyrann Mathieu and David Johnson and John Brown in the 3rd round, and Garrett Williams now. Like, who in that group is going to take that next step? I don't know if anybody right now in the chat can convince me like this player is poised for that kind of ascension. I think the only one that's starting right now is a guard from Illinois, who I think is going to be good. I think he's going to be a good player, but like, you got to stretch a little bit. And that was always my concern with Tip. Even if Tip becomes the best version of himself, he's still blocking tight end behind Trey McBride. I don't think that warrants a top 90 selection.
Yeah, I mean, Tip, here's the thing. He's been really great in that blocking role so far.
Yeah.
If it keeps pushing that run game forward, right? I mean, I think of the one where Kyler Murray goes to the house and puts his finger in the air. Like, Tip was in on that play. Like, if you see more of that this year and it keeps ascending, he can change that notion. Trey Benson, we saw highlights of him towards the end of the season. He did show signs of being capable, right? Towards the back half of the season, I should say.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like Ossenfort, to me, there are so many more positives than negatives, but you have to just contextualize with when are the wins coming. Like, the wins have to come this year. I think 9 wins minimum. Like, you can say like on the right track where they're supposed to be, but they have so much young talent. Like, even these players that like I don't love are going to be better. Will be better than last year. Will help this team win. But it's like, who's getting second contracts from this team of that group, right? Like those are the quite like Paris Johnson Jr. is going to get paid. Garrett Williams is going to get paid. Michael Wilson is the unquestioned starter opposite Marv. Like those are all cemented players, right? Ojulari looks like the only miss from that, first 3 rounds in 2023. Like there is so much pressure, as we talked about it, on the 2024 draft class to help this team win this year. Not for individual moments but I'm going to tell you right now, Darius and Marv appear ready to shoulder the load based on OTAs.
I think it's going to be very interesting when it gets that point where Monty has to make a decision on guys that he drafted or that he's brought in, right?
Yeah.
We haven't seen much of that yet. We've seen him get rid of the old regime's players, but it will be interesting. Right. And hopefully it's not many, because that means good things, right? It means that these guys did take the next step. But that to me is one thing I'm watching, because I think that starts within the next season or so, where he's going to have to make some decisions. And I'm not talking back half guys like
right
T-Palm and things like that. Like I'm talking the guys that he drafted top 100. What happens there?
Well, I think that's why we love this class, is because you just can see it. Boom, 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 boom. Starter at defensive tackle, starter at outside corner, starter at pass rusher, starter at off-ball linebacker, Ohio State corner who's played a ton of meaningful football. You can never have enough. Like, I just think this year, the value compared to last year, save for the first round, was just chef's kiss, way better. Like, Walter Nolan, top 10 player, in my opinion, you get him at 16. Will Johnson, first round pick, you get him at 47, right? Jordan Birch, in my day 2 mock draft, I had him going at the end of the second. The Cardinals get him in the 3rd round. Cody White, national champion. Denzel Burke, a lot of people had him as a top 100 player. Like, that's not the end all be all, but you just, this draft this year, that's why we're so bullish on it. And partially because we know who's going to handle these players defensively with Nick Rallis. Whereas with Tip and Trey Benson and Michael Wilson I love all these players. Drew Petzing, like, when are we going to see that unit gel where it's like, all the draft picks are working together and this unit is ready to, overcome the skeptics? That has to happen this year.
Yeah, a lot needs to be proven. But one thing I think about is the Cardinals always do a great job of putting out the first round draft pick in the war room, right? Those videos, and you see Monty working, right? You're seeing you let Monty cook, right? You're seeing that happen. I think of the movie Draft Day, right?
Oh, Jesus.
Well, no, hear me out. Okay. Hear me out. You got was it the Jaguars GM in there where it's a first time GM. He's sitting on his hands. He's easily convinced to do something else, right? To get out and reassess and figure out his picks. Where the main Kevin Costner, he's ready to go. He's wheeling and dealing. What do you want as a GM, right? You watch those videos of Monty and you see him the first year with Paris, trading out of the spot, then trading up to grab Paris, getting the extra picks. Like, I get motivated, just like I get motivated hearing JG, seeing these videos of Monty work each and every draft. So that gives me confidence. Seeing him do those things also gives me confidence. One, he knows who he wants. Like, they've done their job. They've, like you said, the value they got this year. Yeah, I'm sure to them that was immense value as well. I'm sure they had Will Johnson higher. I'm sure they had Birch higher. Like, and they do their homework. They're very organized, and that, as a Cardinals fan, and not from an NFL media standpoint, who's going to say someone's on a hot seat, from a Cardinal fan perspective, you got to feel good when you see Monty work and you see JG work and what they're doing.
I'm going to apologize for something I did earlier this offseason, and the apology is going to be directed at Monti Ossenfort. You will not want to miss it. Coming up, it's Frosty Thursday, and I was freezing cold with this take. That's coming up. It's PHNX Cardinals. Man, oh man. We are fired up to have Tyler in the fold. Tyler, I have to tell you something. My son is very much into pro wrestling. I know you dabble in pro wrestling as well. So I had a tough time. We scored some tickets to Monday Night Raw via our friends at Game Time, and I did what everybody is supposed to do. The tickets were flipping nuts, and pro wrestling supposedly is back in the Attitude Era, and I just said, I'm going to wait this out with our friends at Game Time. I'm going to use the promo code PHNX, create an account with my wife, $20 off. So we have, I would say, pretty good tickets for Monday Night Raw in Phoenix next Monday night. I'm fired up at the Footprint. I got my tickets with our friends at Game Time. You can too. Again, take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account. Use the bonus code PHNX. $20 off. Terms apply. Again, all you got to do, it's got the best interface. It's got the best setup. It's the easiest to transfer tickets. And again, like you want to sell tickets, boom, they're going to let you do that. You want to transfer tickets. You want to wait it out. You want to try to get tickets day of. They let you do that. They reward you for complacency. It's Game Time. PHNX is the bonus code. Terms and conditions apply. What do you think about that, by the way?
Well, so I wanted to chime in on this, Reed, because Saturday I'm going to Los Angeles for WWE's Money in the Bank at the Intuit Dome. I'm sure I might see one of our other hosts here at PHNX, Mr. Derek Montilla from the D-Back
Where is
Show.
it at on Saturday?
It's at the Intuit Dome in LA, the Clippers' new arena.
Oh, wow.
Right? It's a really cool experience. I went there for their Netflix debut, but I haven't bought a ticket yet. But you better be damn that I'm going to be glued to my phone in Game Time an hour before the show, looking for those sweet last second deals. Yeah, and I'm gonna score a great seat for Saturday, and then I will be in the house Monday over at PHNX Arena. I mean PHX Arena. Sorry. Yeah. Over there in downtown Phoenix.
Don't get a suit now. No. I remember when wrestling tickets were like $50, $35. That is not the case anymore. Thank goodness for Game Time. Thank goodness for Mountain America Credit Union. Yeah, they're committed to helping everybody right now. I need to save some money. I need to better invest my money instead of buying wrestling tickets. Get 2 times the points on rewards credit purchases through July 31st. They've got 100 branches throughout the West. Use your Mountain America reward card and watch the points pile up. It's perfect for gas, groceries, travel, home projects, and more. This promotion is such an easy way to stretch $1 since you earn twice as many rewards. Redeem your double points for rewards, travel rebates, gift cards, ticket events, and more. It's limited time only. Take advantage now. macu.com/double. That's macu.com/double. Loans on approved credit cards. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. This next segment, which I'm fired up about because I've been wanting to come clean, and I haven't deleted the tweet. This Frosty Take is brought to you by our friends at Wendy's. It's Frosty Take here on a football Thursday. PHNX Cardinals, Johnny and Tyler. And we can all get a little reactionary during NFL free agency. I'm guilty of that, right? And I wanted to give Ossenfort the benefit of the doubt. And then I watched everything went down. You know, they signed Josh Sweat, and I was excited. But they still had a massive hole at defensive tackle. And I woke up, and it was, you know, the Wednesday of free agency week, and a bunch of the defensive linemen had been snatched up, and things were drying out pretty quick. And I looked at the landscape of the Cardinals depth chart at defensive tackle, and I didn't like what I saw. So, Noah, let's see it. I tweeted this out, and I feel bad for it. The Cardinals, this is a quote tweet to Bo Brock's announcement that the Cardinals had re-signed DJ Collier to a 1-year deal, or LJ Collier, excuse me. I then tweeted out, maybe Monti Ossenfort is just bad at this, in a piffy meme 80s graphic. And this post got almost 50,000 views. This is back on March 12th. Ossenfort then responded by signing Dalvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell, and drafting Walter Nolan. So this is my Frosty Take. I apologize to you, Monti Ossenfort. You are, in fact, not bad at this, but I'm a man of my word. I have not deleted the tweet. Some would call me the most humble. This remains up, and it's up as my clown makeup because I apologize to you, Monty.
You are the most humble. You know, that's what I think when I watch this show every day is Johnny is the most humble. But yes, that was a very, very bad take there, JV. But a lot of people, I remember right around that time, I had a lot of people tweeting like, oh, is this all the Cardinals are going to do? They're not going to spend any money. They're not going to do anything more. And I was like, nah, just wait. There's more coming. There's definitely more coming. And we were gifted such great blessings after that. And he did take that personal.
I did.
I love that.
Yeah. One. Drop a like if you maybe liked that tweet that day, because I know some of you did. I literally,
who's going to own up, Johnny? Who in the chat's going to own up that they like that and they agreed with you?
I don't know. Here's what we were told. We were told that the Cardinals had money to sign like 3 to 4, let's call it 3 like significant upgrades on the roster. And then we knew they were targeting a pass rusher, a defensive tackle, and a guard. And then we knew about the Sean Murphy Bunting thing, and we thought, okay, flyer guy at corner, right? Somebody on a 1-year deal. Like that's Asante Samuel. That's why they brought him in. And so like when they signed Josh Sweat and we're like, okay, here we go. We're getting started. And they missed out on Milton Williams, and who knows? Benjamin Albright told us they could have signed both, and they tried. And then they didn't get Milton Williams, and they didn't sign anybody else. And who was it? The player from San Francisco, the D tackle, Hargraves. The Vikings signed like 3 defensive tackles in like a 24 to 36 hour period. And
I got so many tweets about that, Johnny, when it happened. Everyone's pointing, this is what a good organization does. This is what Monti should be. And you got a lot of that.
It almost like we got on the show and it was like when they were re-signing LJ Collier, it was like, well, did they just appease people by signing Josh Sweat? Like, is this their one splurge? And thankfully, like, not only did they get Dalvin Tomlinson, the move made sense fiscally. It's not a huge contract. And then Calais Campbell a couple weeks later on a 1-year deal. It was just like, and then the best of all of them is I'm not Monti Ossenfort afraid to admit my mistakes with Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols. I'm taking Walter Nolan. I'm not overthinking this. Competition, we're going to ramp it up. Free agents be damned. And like a bad general manager in the first round is like, well, yeah, Walter Nolan's good, but like, I don't need him. We signed all these defensive linemen. Everybody told me to go get defensive linemen. He didn't do that. And thank goodness for that. So that picture, that image, and let's see it one more time, Noah, Monti Ossenfort might not be good at this. That is a freezing cold take. Maybe Monti Ossenfort is just bad at this. That needs to be retired. He is in fact very good at this. When he puts his head down and he targets a position, he flipped the defensive line on its head this offseason, and he deserves all the flowers today.
One of the things that I think of is that makes, I think, Monti very underrated as a very good GM is he's been very good with the cap that we talked about earlier in the sense that he hasn't signed in the couple of free agent classes, he hasn't thrown out crazy money where you can't get off of it pretty quick.
Right.
He hasn't taken too many crazy swings. I mean, I think his first free agent class, he didn't have anyone to a 4-year contract until this free agency class this year. So, I mean, he's put us in a really good position moving forward, even if things weren't to work out with some of the moves he's already made. Right. And so I think that's one of the things that also has to be, appreciated about Monti is that I think he made up on both previous free agencies with this one. Hopefully, you still got to see the guys go out there. Forbid that Calais Campbell drops off a rock somehow from last year to this year, or Dalvin doesn't pan out or whatever. But right now, as you look at it, this free agency class looks way better than the previous ones, and it looks like Monti's in his bag right now, and we can keep rolling.
Monti Ossenfort laying the foundation. How about the Cardinals' top passing combination of Kyler Murray and Trey McBride? Where do they rank in the NFL hierarchy of playmakers? That and your super chats. Drop a like. It's PHNX Cardinals. Speaking of laying the foundation, why not turn to our friends at Empire Today? Why is Empire Today your best bet for a new floor? I'm so glad you're asked. Empire Today lives and breathes flooring, and they will be able to help you every step of the way. It's a whole different ball game, folks. Their flooring experts bring the showroom right to your home. Pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space. See how it looks with your furniture, your house. So convenient. As a new homeowner myself, I can't put a price on quality flooring and the right people to do it. Get precise measurements taken, have all your questions answered so there are no surprises. With Empire Today, you get clear upfront and all exclusive pricing. You can schedule installation as soon as, get this, next day. It's a call to action, friends. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. PHNX listeners get $350 off using the bonus code PHNX. That's $350 off right now. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/PHNX for more details. You got to be smart about flooring. You got to be smart about your money. And that's because you got to be with our friends at Monarch Money. Start managing your finances to build the life that you actually want. Monarch makes managing money simple, even for the busiest lives. We're on the go. We're going to football practice. We're going to dance recitals. We're taking kids to camp. We're doing work. we're having fun and we're being responsible. With all your cards, accounts, credit cards, investments in one place, you'll always know where your money stands without the hassle. You got mortgages, rent, bills, investments, right? Do it all in one spot. Track your savings, spendings, and investments effortlessly so you can focus on what matters most. That's making your biggest life goals a reality. Monarch Money is the finance tool people actually love. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use the bonus code PHNX at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off the first year. That's half off PHNX. That's 50% off the first year. monarchmoney.com. Bonus code PHNX. Everybody drop a like for our guy Tyler. Pump in your super chats. They're coming up. But in the meantime, Tyler, tell us what's going on with Bird Gang Travel. We're so fired up for this fall. Bo and I are already ready to go. Producer Noah's coming with us. We're going to New Orleans. What can folks expect with Bird Gang Travel?
I can't wait. We are getting ready. You have till June 29th to book New Orleans. And if you book by then, you'll get a signed mini helmet from, we just talked about him, Calais Campbell, for everyone in your package. So book the trip now, and let me run down the weekend. Friday night, we're going to have a party. Going to be on a body of water in a moving boat. It's going to be a boat party, as some may call it. Saturday, we'll have our parade down Bourbon Street. Last time, we had over 900 Cardinal fans going down Bourbon Street, all in Cardinal garb and flags, and a good old time. Saturday night, it's our pep rally party with Jake the Snake Plumber. He'll be in attendance, hosting the party. And then Sunday, and that is an open bar, open buffet party, right? All you can eat, all you can drink Saturday night. Sunday, a tailgate right by the stadium, open bar, open buffet once again. And then game time. We got lower level seats for every person that books. Generally, those are in the first 10 rows. Last year, I think both trips, we did first 5 rows. So we'll see how that shakes out this season. Being week 1, it might be first 10. There's other goodies that are going to be thrown in as well. Trip shirt, trip patch, you name it, right? Surprises on the long way. And then, of course, you guys doing live podcasts all throughout the weekend.
We're so fired up to be partnered with Bird Gang Travel. Tyler, so fired up to have you and your team, the best team in the fold. It is a steal, Jessica, absolutely. And the best part about it is, like, these are all priced out. These are the best deals, the best packages. It's all inclusive. Meaning, like, you're going to get there and Bird Gang, their team, Tyler's team, they're going to take care of you, right? You're not going to have to be on your own. You're not going to be sidelined. We're traveling as a group. We're partying as a group. We're cheering on the Arizona Cardinals as a group in New Orleans on Bourbon Street. I was just there for the Super Bowl. It's a tremendous atmosphere. I can't wait to go. I'll tell you what I can wait to do is read any more PFF rankings this offseason, but we're going to hate read this one. They rank the top quarterback pass catcher combos in the NFL. So it can qualify a wide receiver, tight end, etc. Kyler Murray and Trey McBride made the list. So no Marv, but Trey. You want to guess where they ended up, just without knowing, Tyler?
Just like all the other national media rankings, we're in the somewhere around 20. I'll say that.
Okay. You're pretty close. Let's take a look at the rankings. Noah, man. Actually, a little bit better than I thought. And I would imagine that McBride's carrying the water here for PFF. They love Trey McBride. 17th overall. And again, like, most of these I don't have an issue with, okay? I'm going to tell you right now, like, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, of course, right? Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins. He's been dinged up, but, like, Jaden Daniels, McLaurin's totally fine. Baker Mayfield and Evans is probably a little too rich for my blood, but Amon-Ra with Jared Goff. Then you get to some ones where I'm like, what are we doing here? Like Tua and Tyreek Hill. They were not good last year. Tyreek Hill looked completely disinterested. Tua had his injury. Like, I wouldn't put that above McBride and Kyler Murray. And then you go down a couple. I'm sorry, Michael Penix and Drake London. I know it says long there. That's my bad. Drake London and Michael Penix over Kyler Murray and Trey McBride it's like a borderline fireable offense, egregiously bad. Then you go down a few more, like, I'm sorry. If all things are equal and I have Brock Purdy or Kyler Murray, I want Kyler Murray over Brock Purdy. And I think there's not a GM in the NFL that would take George Kittle today over Trey McBride, who is infinitely younger and more athletic. So, Trevor Lawrence, whatever, Brian Thomas Jr. look good. There are about 4 to 6 things on this list I have an issue with.
Yeah, I'm just staring at the Michael Penix and Drake London one. I can't get over that. That one is terrible. Yeah. I mean, but I agree with you. I think the Murray and McBride combo should be either right next to or definitely above. I agree it should be above Purdy and Kittle, but it should be a lot closer. They shouldn't be, 4 spots away.
Jalen Blair saying McBride was 11th in the league in receiving last year. Absolutely. And Jordan Love, Jaden Reed, they just drafted a receiver. Are they that sold on their current receiving core? I think this is just one of those things where I think if the Cardinals had won more games last year, they probably would be top 12 to 15. But because they most of these teams are playoff teams, right? Outside of Burrow and Chase, who have the reputation, it's playoff team, playoff team, playoff team, playoff team, playoff team. Dallas is whatever. Miami's been to the playoffs. Stafford's in the playoffs. The default, flavor of the offseason's Atlanta. McConkey and Herbert playoffs. Packers playoffs. I mean, all these teams have recent playoff history. Honestly, the Cardinals and their combination are the only tandem that has not been in the postseason within the last 2 years, sans the Atlanta Falcons. Everybody else, and maybe it was Jacksonville got in maybe 3 years ago, so maybe I'm off a year, but for the most part, these are consistent playoff contenders. And no, if we could take this down for a second, I just think it kind of underscores this is why I love the NFL. Major League Baseball, very much about stats. NBA, max players that don't warrant it. The NFL, we love fantasy football. We play it every year here. But it's these guys, I couldn't tell you Lamar Jackson's stats last year, but he balled out. He's in the playoffs every year. That's where we have to get with the norm with Kyler Murray. Baker Mayfield's had good stats, but he's also been in the playoffs the last 2 years. He won a playoff game. So everybody is just vibing with Baker Mayfield. His credibility's gone way up. Kyler Murray getting to the postseason this year means everything. It just means everything. The perception of him and this team, it changes dramatically. Trey McBride, there's nothing more he can do, right? It's just about consistency, keeping it up. I know he can have more touchdowns. That's not really up to him in certain aspects, but if Kyler Murray makes the postseason this year, he's going to be right back in this discussion of a top, 8 to 12 guy consistently. But until he does, people are going to just keep pushing him further down these lists.
Yeah, when I look at that list, I'm thinking they fall right now somewhere in 12 to 14. But, Murray has a great year this season. Now you're talking top 10, right? 10, 9, somewhere in there. So a lot rides on Kyler's shoulders. So hopefully him and Drew can figure it out together and we all get the outcome we're hoping for this season.
Yeah, I feel if you're Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr., this is your opportunity to really cement yourself as I think this trio, the triplets for the Arizona Cardinals, this should be the envy of everybody in the NFL. You have a top pick at quarterback who should be in his prime. You have a generational prospect at wide receiver, 4th overall. And in my opinion, you have the best tight end in the NFL. I hope the conversation, Tyler, come December, January this year is who's got it better in Arizona with this group, with these 3 players. I don't want it to only be the Trey McBride show for obvious reasons. I know this is the PHNX Cardinals show, and we're reading your super chats, and we're going into overtime here. Big thanks to everybody jumping from your streaming partner, our many streaming partners. Heading on over to gophnx.com, become a diehard today, jump in the member Discord, and of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let's drop a like for our guy, Bo Brock, who's doing great on paternity leave. Let's get things started with my guy, Tim, $10 super chat. Happy birthday to me. Well, happy birthday, Tim. Thanks so much. Friend of the program. But before that, hope Bo and his family are doing well. Absolutely. And we're excited to welcome a new member into the PHNX family. They're especially cool if they come today. Prayers and love. Absolutely. Well, Tim, we appreciate you. Appreciate you being a part of this community. Bo and his family are doing great. And he'll be back soon. But big thanks to you for the super chat. And I hope you have a fabulous birthday, my guy.
One thing. I'm upset that I didn't get the pew, 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 pew on overtime. Where was that?
You know what? We'll do it again. Let's do it. Let's cue the overtime up one more time. I'll take care of that. Overtime. Maybe we're not allowed to do it twice. Pew, 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 meow, meow, meow. There it is. Overtime.
There we go. And then Feliz cumpleaños, Tim. Big happy birthday to you.
Big happy birthday to Tim. Cardi D, $2. More baby love for Bo Brock. Baby Bo, congrats. New little bird ganger. Absolutely. Well, Bo is big engine that stirs this drink or sets the sails or something stupid that I wanted to try to say. But huge part of what we do here at PHNX Cardinals and this community would be nothing without our guy Wulbrecht, who are so thankful that everything's going great with he and his family, and anxious to have him back. But in the meantime, Tyler, we appreciate you for stepping in today and holding things down with us. Any final thoughts ahead of this season, my guy?
Payment plans available for New Orleans or Dallas. Go to birdgangtravel.com and join us this season on the road. We'll have Larry Centers in Dallas and Jake Plummer. And, of course, the fellas will all be joining us. And Noah already told me earlier that he likes to drink. So it's going to be a grand time on Bourbon Street. I don't know how the shows are going to get done because Noah.
Wow. Maybe I don't like that idea. Maybe I don't like that idea.
You're going to have to self-produce, Johnny. I'm calling it right now.
You know what? People have seen that during the height of draft season, and people want less of that. I've heard. They don't want that at all. But here's what we do want. Smash the like. Leave a comment down below. What's up, my guy?
I want one more thing before you close.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing it over and over in the chat. One, the chat's all invited to the carne asada. I do drink the Modelo's. And, let's rock. Go ahead, Johnny.
No, absolutely. Carne asada, sign me up. Absolutely. Sign up right now. Become a diehard. Go PHNX.com. Big thanks to our guy, Tyler. We'll see him throughout the course of this offseason en route to the fall opener. In the meantime, new surprise guest host tomorrow on a Football Friday. In the meantime, big thanks to Tyler, Noah. I'm Johnny Venerable. Drop a like. We'll see you on Friday.
We all silly like the mayor.